Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 4th of January. So this is the start of a new week, the start of a new month, the start of a new quarter and the start of a new year. So it's worthwhile taking stock of what the markets might be focusing on as we start this new trading period. Now it's worthwhile remembering that over the New Year and Christmas period, unusually this year, we've had quite a lot going on. Normally they're sort of fairly quiet as traders take holidays, but through this time, of course, we've had that big Brexit deal that's come to market. We've also had a US stimulus package that's also been agreed as well, and this in times when markets have been very quiet. So when I mean by quiet, I mean a lot of traders have been away from the markets. So there is going to be some sort of element of catch up there, of those traders taking stock of what has happened and digesting that. Now typically the first week back can be a little bit slow. It can be a little bit lower in liquidity as traders come back to their desks and start to digest what's been going on. So let's take a look at some of the common themes that have been developing here in the markets, particularly over the holiday and Christmas period, and what might be common themes that continue through the course of this week. Now, one of them, of course, has been the continued weakness in the US dollar. And we've seen the dollar continue to weaken over that holiday period, and it's also sort of accelerated through the beginning of trading early this year. Now, our pick of the dollar markets at the moment is the dollar yen, and we like Great British Pound longer, so pound dollar longer, but that market can be particularly a bit more sort of volatile. But I think the dollar yen here also sort of looking quite nice too. If we take a look at this on the higher time frames, you can see that we've got a lovely trend forming here on the weekly time frame, and the market sort of recently sort of breaking through a key 103 area that price has been sort of finding support at. If we take a look at this on the daily time frame, you can sort of see this area here around this sort of 103 area that the market's been sort of contained within over the past sort of week or so. Now price has broken through that area now. It is looking a little bit stretched, it is looking a little bit extended, so some sort of pullback on these markets. And if you had take a look at this on the 4-hour time frame, you can see what I mean. Price structure starting to open up again, but actually a pull back into that sort of 103 area, or even if we get a pullback a little bit before that, could be a nice area for a lower high. You know, bear in mind, remember that we've got to remember that trends run in lower highs and lower lows. We've had a lower high, we've got certainly lower lows where the market sort of decides to find a bit of a pause. So we're going to need to see some sort of lower high forming here. I think around that sort of 103 area could be an interesting area. If we take a look at this, you know, lower down the time frames and start to see here on the 60-minute chart, you can see the congestion that the market's been sort of contained in over the Christmas period, and now the sort of breakout here. So 103 certainly looking a nice area at the moment from a geometry perspective, but even, as I say, even if we get sort of maybe a pullback into these lows here, you can see that there is a bundle of pivot points there, historical pivots, and if I just sort of zoom right the way out on this, you can get some sort of perspective. You know, if I come back here, you can see that where we've had historical pivots coming in just underneath that sort of 102.90 area in here could be areas where we start to find a bit of support, a bit of resistance and potential sort of turning points. So we're liking US dollar yen lower as that seeing that sort of trend continue. If we have a look at index markets now in early trade this month, or this year I should say, the markets have now sort of found more support, and the markets rising. Now all of the index markets here rising higher. Again, remember that at the start of a new quarter particularly, it's often a time when funds move money around, and we get an influx of money, new money coming into funds, and that's certainly sort of looking evident here as well. So The outlook at the moment here for index markets is to the long side. The trend looks like it's going to continue, but at these levels I would be looking really for areas of pullback for positioning. You can even see here on the 4-hour time frame things are looking sort of quite extended at the moment, but some sort of pullback into geometry areas, back into moving average zones. That's the sort of thing that we'll look for sort of positioning. And at this moment in time, we've just started to get some sort of trend structures starting to form here on the lower time frames, as you can see here with the moving averages opening up on the 60-minute chart. Now if we come over to the commodity front, commodities again are benefiting from the weaker dollar, so we're seeing gold and silver continuing to rise. I think out of the two, marginally silver looking a little bit more structured than the gold market, but that may well change. But both of these markets I think are looking poised for a continuation higher. We look at the examples on silver at the moment. You can see that the market has started to open up with a reasonable trend structure here for trend following traders. We've got a trading window here up to 28,000, which is the next sort of structure level here on this market. There's still distance to go on this, and the market's sort of closing that window. Above 28,000 puts this into a run up to that 30,000 and the recent highs in silver as well, and there's a decent size sort of trading window for a continuation long there too. Again, if you start to come down the time frames, these markets again starting to look very reasonable in trend structures. You can see this here on the 60-minute chart, again as the moving averages and geometry starting to open up as well. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping a close eye on going into the beginning of this week. Now things are certainly going to develop as the week progresses, and we're going to be running a live stream here on Wednesday, so the details and the link to the stream are below the video. It's run at 9 o'clock UK time on Wednesday. You're welcome to join, and we'll dissect what's going on in the markets and take a look at a number of other opportunities as well. Look forward to seeing you then. Hope it helps. Bye for now.